What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week, and welcome to the new set. This is what we'll be using while I build my bar in the other corner of the basement. But for today, we have Weller 12, obviously coming out of Buffalo Trace. This one, 12 years old, the wheated mash bill. We've already reviewed the Antique 107 and the Special Reserve. I've had one glass of this before at a Boston wedding. Now, obviously, it was at a wedding, so it was free, and everything tastes better when it's free. So I'm interested to see how it tastes now that I had to spend my money on it. But everybody knows before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. I think this is going to do good. So full disclosure, this is my first sip of whiskey in over 7 days. I did come down with a case of COVID. We're back on the mend now, so hopefully we're past the worst of all that. But let's get back into this. Weller 12, I did have a glass of this in Boston, but I'm interested to see, now that I have some time to sit down and dissect it, talk about price, taste, drinkability as we do on this channel, we can finally see if this deserves to be up there with the rest of the Wellers. The Special Reserve, I didn't give that good of a score. The Antique 107, I absolutely loved. So for this bottle, with the hype behind it, does it deserve to fall at the top of the ranking sheet, somewhere in the middle, or maybe somewhere at the bottom? So you know how we like to do it, price, taste, drinkability. We're going to start with drinkability on this bottle right here, which is how much ethanol this has compared to the proof. And the one thing that I hear about this bottle all the time is if it was a higher proof, if it had a little bit more of a proof behind it, it would be a lot better of a bottle. But we're going to find that out right here. This does come in only at 90 proof. We know it's the wheated mash bill, but let's see what we think about this when it comes to drinkability. So I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's because it's the first time I had a sip of whiskey in 7 days or if this proof just isn't that great compared to the ethanol kick, but at 90 proof, this does have a little bit of a burn behind it. I figured that wheated mash bill, that 12 years in the barrel, would really get rid of a lot of that ethanol kick, but only being 90 proof, it still does have a little bit of a kick behind it. Nothing outrageous, nothing overwhelming, but I do think compared to other things in that 80, 90, 100 proof range even, it does have more ethanol than I was expecting. After the second and third sip, it does ease up just a little bit, but not too much. I was expecting a lot more out of this bottle when it comes to the drinkability on this. The first time I had a glass of it, maybe it was opened longer. Maybe they let it air out just a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, for a 90 proof wheater, this hits kind of hard, and I'm going to give it a pretty average score. Let's go with like a 7.92 when it comes to drinkability on this. Up next, we're going to get a taste on this, and taste on this is tough for me. So first of all, it's Buffalo Trace. I love Buffalo Trace. I think all of their products are very well rounded, which I'm finding here as well. Two, it's 12 years old, which is right in my wheelhouse when it comes to that age statement. I don't like anything too over oaked, but also I don't like anything too young. 12 years seems to be right in that mark for me that I love, as well as like a Russell's Reserve 10 year. And then number three, being that 90 proof, it's going to water all of that down. So again, I can't really disagree with people when they say that if this was a higher proof, it would be a very good bottle, because I think they would leave a lot more of those flavors that they're getting from the 12-year mark in this bottle rather than watering them out. So when it comes to my personal opinion on this bottle, I think they do a fantastic job of creating what the flavor profile they want in this is, but then I think they also water it down to a point that you can't really appreciate it. I think the 12 years should be more prominent. I think it should have a little bit more oak, and that's coming from a guy who doesn't really like oak. You're getting your vanillas, your caramels, your burnt caramels almost because of that age behind it. But yet it really feels like they've already added water to this when I feel like I want to do that myself. So at the end of the day, the taste is fantastic. I just feel like I want more of it. I feel like I'm missing part of the taste profile on this because of it being 90 proof. So I can't really disagree when people say that this would be a lot better at a higher proof. So we're really going to reflect that in our taste score. And we're going to give this like I want to give it like an 8. 8.00 is where we're going to put this when it comes to taste. And last but not least, let's pour up a little bit more and let's talk about price on this. This bottle came in at Pennsylvania online drops, which have been dropping pretty regularly lately, at a $50 price tag. $49.99 plus the $12 shipping, but we don't have to talk about that right now. $50 for this bottle right here is not a bad ask, especially when you talk about the availability for this bottle. Now, this seems to be the harder of the availabilities when it comes to the Special Reserve and the Antique 107, at least when you talk about like Ohio and Texas always get the Antique 107 and Special Reserve is always sitting on the shelf. This one's a little bit harder to get. Now, I have yet to try the CYPB or the single barrel, so if anybody has any opportunity to get those, let me know. But for this bottle, we don't ever take any type of availability into consideration when we're talking about price on these, because I don't think that's fair. I don't think that the price should dictate availability or vice versa. I don't think availability should dictate the price. Obviously, this is going for something crazy on the secondary market if you can get your hands on it, but that's not what we deal with. I'm dealing with what I got it for, which is $50 here in Pennsylvania, which isn't a bad ask. It's Buffalo Trace. It's 12 years old. It's right in that price range with a lot of other things at $50. But the only thing that's holding it back is that proof and that taste that we talked about on this. So I don't hate the $50 price tag. I don't think they're robbing you with the $50 price tag, but at the same time, I think they could offer you a little bit more. Not that I'm a proof hound, but if you're going to water down your product to make more bottles out of it, don't water down the 12-year version, because I think that's what I want. I want the 12-year version. So we like to keep price pretty short. Let's keep it right around that like 7.5 to 8 mark. I'm going to say like a 7.66 when it comes to price on this. But listen, I got a question for you guys, so we're going to send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week, because I got to find something out about this bottle that maybe you guys know. Cheers. So listen, I'm only 3, maybe 4 years into this bourbon drinking thing. I know a lot of you have been doing it a lot longer than I have. I have a Discord with almost 200 members. Come join us in Discord, link in the description below. And we got to talking about the 12-year Weller versus the 12-year Lot B Pappy Van Winkle. Now, as I'm sure you all know, Pappy Van Winkle is the top of the top. I have an old Rip Van Winkle, a 10-year, haven't opened it yet, still trying to figure out what I should do with that. But my understanding and all the deep diving that I've done into Reddits and subreddits and all the other internets in the world tells me that Weller 12 is the exact same juice that would go into a Pappy Van Winkle Lot B, the only difference being the Van Winkles themselves pick the barrels that become Pappy and the rest become Weller 12. So here's my question to you, being newer to the bourbon world. Is this just a Pappy Van Winkle Lot B? I mean, that comes in at what, 90.4 proof? This is 90 proof. That's 12 years. This is 12 years. Is the only difference the fact that Julian Van Winkle III is picking out the Pappy Van Winkle and then the rest becomes Weller 12? And if that's the case, why is this bottle not as sought after as something like Pappy Van Winkle? Is this whole thing a game? Is it a whole charade from the top to the bottom in the bourbon world? Have we blown this up too much? Have we gone too far? Are we chasing the wrong things? Now, I know a lot of you will say, yes, stop hunting unicorns. There's plenty of craft distilleries out there that are doing great things. But I'm curious, when it comes to Weller 12, am I actually drinking Pappy Van Winkle Lot B and I just don't know it? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Cheers, y'all. So I don't know, maybe I'm just getting frustrated with this whole searching for bourbon thing and really drinking the same thing from the same company, just it's sitting on a different rick or in a different warehouse. And I understand there's a process that goes into the whole distilling and goes into the whole blending process. And maybe if this isn't good enough for Julian Van Winkle to put in Pappy, then maybe it is Weller 12 and it's not Pappy Van Winkle, but I digress. But this bottle came in at a 7.86. Not a great spot when you talk about how highly sought after a bottle like this is. And now that I've had it, I can tell you don't hunt it. But at the end of the day, if you want to try this and if you want to have this, I can't be mad at you. Don't go out and spend ridiculous secondary market prices for this. But if you have to pay a little bit over MSRP, I'm not going to be mad at you for that either. I definitely wanted this bottle. I hunted this bottle. I paid an extra 12 bucks to get this bottle shipped to me. So at the end of the day, I paid $62, $63 for this bottle, which isn't a bad price for it either. But at a 7.86, that's where it's going to fall on our ranking sheet today. But listen, that's where I'm going to leave you for this week. Make sure you check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. If you want to help support the channel out financially, check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page. We have a bunch of cool stuff just for Patreons. If you want to come chat with us 24/7 on Discord, make sure you click that link in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly and stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all. Pappy.